Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Meliorvia. I'm up here today at Immortals Inc. with Mikey.
What is up, John? Happy Thursday.
Oh, and it is another fantastic Thursday. A beautiful rain-covered day here in Cleveland.
And I think like most of the country is getting horribly hit with storms and floods and tornadoes.
So what we're getting is pretty mild by comparison, thank God. But the storm we're going to talk about is a demi-human one that's rolling through your campaign setting. And that is Revenge of the Horde. It's part of the Game Master's Toolbox line from Nord Games, and it is part of that line's Ultimate Bestiary subline. Ralph Stickley and Christopher Haskins are the two leads on this, and it is a book of NPC and Bestiary products. They make both for 5th edition and Pathfinder. The one I got to talk about today is the 5e supplement. It's actually an incredibly comprehensive book for what it does, because usually when you look at a monster manual, you're accustomed to seeing an entry for a race. So if you're talking about orcs, there'll be the orc entry. Maybe it'll have a leader, right? This one goes kind of extreme the other direction, where you get a lot of different stat blocks for each of the different creatures that are included in here. With each of the different Horde species that are included, you get an overview, you get a look at their culture, you get a discussion of the type of environments that they're active, you get some role-play notes, some strategy notes for combat, for how they might approach things, and then a section on language and names. There's also a collection of trinkets, so the kind of small jewelry type things that they might value and might have on them, and some random charts for their layers as well. And then you get group makeups for different challenge ratings. So if your player characters are, level 1 to 3, there's a way you might assemble a group of these guys. If they're level 15 to 18, you get a different assembly. Makes it kind of really useful for something that you can go and say, hey, I'll pull out this same book and use these same stat blocks all the way through my campaign. I'll just rearrange them differently. There's also write-ups about specific groups for most of these monsters. The ones that tend to be more solitary don't get those. They're organized pretty much alphabetically. So the first one that pops up is bugbears. And for bugbears, again, for each of these entries, you do get a full page, you do get an illustration, and the stat blocks are Archer, Cutthroat, Brute, Hunter, Ambusher, Elder, Warrior, Headman, and Shaman. So a whole lot of different styles of bugbears, not just your, one go-to guy. Same kind of setup for gnolls, except in gnolls, they break them down by environment. So you've got your plains gnolls, ones that are, out in basically the fields, the plains. Yeah, exactly. And then you've got gutter gnolls, which are kind of subterranean. They're living basically in the sewers underneath the city. And then rock gnolls, who are, more hilly area types, right? The plains gnolls, you've got a runner, an archer, a spearman, a warrior, a shaman, and a clan mother. So runner, right? They're moving around in a big wide open space. The gutter gnolls, they're sneakier, right? So you got a lightfoot, a tracker, a fighter, a pack leader, and a shaman. And the rock gnolls, you've got a runt, a sneak, a mangy gnoll.
Ooh.
Yeah, an alpha gnoll, and a shaman. And then you get, like I said, write-ups of different groups for each of these. Goblins, you have forest, hill, and cave. And the forest, you get a default, and then a sneak, a thief, a trapper, and a shaman. For hill goblins, again, you got a default, and then an archer, a bomber, which brings to mind some magic cards for me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. A driver, a warrior, an alchemist, a beastmaster, a champion, and a wizard. And then for cave goblins, you've got a runt, your basic default, a brute, a feral, an afflicted, and a king. Yep.
Feral.
Yeah. Then we got hobgoblins with only one, no subtypes here. Scout, grunt, warrior, archer, pikeman, arbalester, soldier, centurion, legate, and imperator. Kind of suggests that they are a very organized, stratified culture.
I would say so, based off that.
Yeah. Exactly. Kobolds, you get Warren and Dragon kobolds. With the Warren kobolds, you've got a miner, a thrower, a spearman, a beastmaster, and a king. And with the dragon ones, you have an acolyte, a warrior, a mutant, a wizard, and a prophet. I feel like maybe the wizard and the mutant might be connected somehow. For ogres tend to be more solitary, so you don't necessarily have large groups or subtypes of them, and you don't get an example mob for them either. But you've got an adolescent, so growing up, a hurler, which isn't puking, he's throwing big honking rocks at
Great.
you. Yeah. A charger, a berserker, a collector, and a master. And then they've got Okiti, and maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong, but they're basically rat men. Feel a lot like Skaven for Warhammer. Yeah, exactly. And the archetypes fit that too. You've got a sneak, a brigand, an assassin, a poisoner, a ringleader, and a swashbuckler. For orcs, they don't break them down into subcategories either. You've got an archer, a soldier, a warrior, a battleborn, a bruiser, a captain, a commander, a shaman, a berserker, and a warlord. And then for trolls, again, no example group. They're just trolls, so they tend to be a little more solitary. You've got forest, cave, swamp, frost, mountain, and hill. And then you have beasts of the horde as kind of a separate subsection. And there's a whole lot of different animals and different archetypes for those animals that kind of tie in. The big generalizations that I saw were hyenas, kind of to go with the gnolls. Lizard hounds, kind of to go with the orcs. Scroffa, and I don't remember what that was off the top of my head. That might tie into the orcs as well. And then wargs, so the big giant wolves. And then there's a Tools of the Horde section, which covers common items and magic items. And playable races, so you have pretty much all but the ogre and the troll broken down with stat blocks for if you want to use them as a character race. After that, there's some layer maps and a solid index. It's a full color book. It is really solidly illustrated with great pictures that are representative of each of those different specialized versions of the different species as you're going through here. Pretty much everything gets a full page write-up. It's 192 pages. It's $40 from Nord Games. Full color, hardcover. We got it on the shelf here at Immortals Inc. or available at immortalsinc.com.
Very well said, John. Go ahead and spice up that 5e, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Till next time, folks. Good gaming.